A man cycling at a speed of 16 kilometers per hour reaches a town in 24 hours. How much time does he take to cover the same distance if his speed increases to 20 kilometers per hour? So as of now, he is cycling at a speed of 16 kilometers per hour, and he will reach the destination, that is the town, within 24 hours. Now they are asking us how much time will it take for him to cover the same distance if he increases the speed. Now, say me one thing, if speed increases, the time will increase or decrease? If speed increases, now it was 16 kilometers before, now he's going at 20 kilometers. So speed has increased. Now time will increase or decrease? Very good. It will decrease. Now, if one of the element increases and the other decreases, which type of proportion is this? Is this direct or inverse? Kirti, it is not direct. Yeah, you can call it as indirect or inverse proportion. If one increases, other decreases, this will be an indirect or inverse proportion. If one increases, other increases. If one decreases, other decreases. This will be direct proportion. Okay. Now, since this is an indirect proportion problem, let us define that this is an indirect proportion or an inverse proportion problem, and then we will solve it. Okay. Now, let us start defining. So every proportion problem, please make sure you define like this and then you solve. So firstly, here speed and time taken to reach a fixed distance is related. Okay. When speed increases, time taken will decrease. Time taken will decrease. Therefore, it is in inverse proportion. So whatever is given in the problem, the same thing we are defining here, saying it is an inverse proportion. Okay. Now after this, what are we supposed to find? How much time does he take? So we are supposed to find the time. So now let us say, or let us assume, let the time taken be x, and then we have, after time taken be x, we have what all information we have? We have speed information, right? First it was 16 kilometers per hour, now it is 20 kilometers per hour. So speed ratio is equal to, first it was 16 kilometers, now it is 20 kilometers. So the ratio will be 16:20. Are you all able to follow? Any doubts still here? Okay. Now we understood that speed was directly given. Now apart from that, there is time. So if he goes at 16 kilometer per hour, there is 24 hours. Now they're asking how much is the time taken for 20 kilometers per hour. So that will be x. So next is time ratio. Time ratio for 16 kilometer speed, he will be able to reach at 24 hours. For 20 kilometer speed, we don't know we have to find out. Okay, now put the ratios in inverse proportion. Now here is the catch. Listen carefully. Now what we were doing, we were just considering two equations in the direct proportion, sorry, two ratios in the direct proportions, and we used to solve. But when it comes to inverse proportion, please understand, one ratio will be taken directly, the other ratio will be reversed. What do I mean by that is, now speed ratio is 16:20, correct? So speed ratio is 16:20. I am writing it as it is equal to, what is the other ratio? Time ratio. Now this time ratio has to be reversed. Reversed means x will come first. Okay, x is to 24. It is not 24 is to x, it is x is to 24. Okay, if you are not able to understand, just write a note here. Time ratio is reversed to solve x. Did you understand? So this is the main reason why we define which proportion the problem is in, and then we will be solving it. Okay, so first speed ratio will be as usual 16:20. The time ratio, we are changing the places. Instead of 24 is to x, we are writing x is to 24, and this will happen only in the inverse proportion. Okay, this will happen only in the inverse proportion. Is it clear? Okay, now as usual, solve the problem. Product of extremes is equal to product of means. As usual, solve the problem and find x. Fine, now let us do that part. So product of extremes, 16:24 is equal to 20 into x. So 16:24 divided by 20 is equal to x. X is 19.2. Correct, Anusha. Very good. So 19.2 is equal to x. Now what is x that we were finding out? X is the time taken. Correct, Ruda. 19.2 is the right answer. So time taken is x. So write the conclusion. Therefore, he takes, or you can write a man takes, that also can be, whatever is given in the question. A man takes 19 hours and, or you can just write 19.2 hours. 19.2 hours to reach town at 20 kilometer speed. Okay, at 20 kilometers speed. Is it clear? Any doubts in this problem? Okay, now moving on to the next problem. If 12 pumps working 7 hours a day can lift 2,800 tons of water in 20 days. See, there's a lot of information given here. They are given us 12 pumps, 7 hours it will work for 1 day, and it can lift 2,800 tons of water in 20 days. Okay, so what is important here is 12 pumps. Okay, and what is the question? Days. Days. These two are important things. Now, let us see the second part of the question. In how many days can 20 pumps working 9 hours a day lift 3000 tons of water? Now, the second scenario is 20 pumps working for 9 hours per day, 3000 tons of water, and we are supposed to find out the number of days. Okay, now if you understand here, the capacity of the work, what is the capacity? 12 pumps and 20 pumps. Now if you see, from 12 the number of pumps has increased to 20. Now if the number of pumps have increased, do you think the days will decrease or increase? Instead of using 12 pumps, now we are using 20 pumps in a day to take out the water. And we are getting more water also. So will the number of days increase or decrease? Think logically. Why, Bindu? Why will it increase? It is supposed to decrease. The number of pumps where the water is coming is also more. The water extracted is also more, which means the number of days will decrease. So if the number of pumps increases and the number of days decreases, it is in which proportion? Direct or inverse? Indirect proportion. Correct? One is increase, one is decrease. So it is indirect or inverse proportion. Understood how to find out direct or indirect? You have to analyze whatever is given in the question and then you will be able to understand. Okay. Now let us define that it is an inverse proportion and we will solve the problem. Here, capacity and work is related. So as capacity is the pumps, number of pumps, the working of pumps each day, everything will come under capacity. So as capacity increases, work will be completed early. Therefore, it is in inverse proportion. Okay, so we have defined what is there in the problem. Now, what is the question? We have to find the answer. In how many days they can pump out so much of water? So how many days is the question? Now let us define that number of days. Let the number of days required be X. Okay, number of days required be X. Now let us start defining the ratios. Now what are the two important things? One is capacity, the other is work. So first we will form the capacity ratio. Now I told you in capacity, the number of pumps, each pump working for number of hours in a day and how many days. Okay, that will be the one part of the ratio. Now let us define that. So firstly, there were 12 pumps. See the first line of the problem. There were 12 pumps working for 7 hours a day. No, Rida. 12 pumps working for 7 hours a day and they are working for 20 days. It's okay, no problem. Okay. Now, 12 pumps working 7 hours per day into how many days? 20 days. Okay. So this is first capacity. Then the second capacity, this will be first ratio. Now, the second part of the ratio is same way 20 pumps are there in the second sentence if you see the question, and they are working for 9 hours every day, but number of days we don't know. So we will write it as X days. This is the capacity ratio. The number of pumps into the number of hours they work and into the number of days. Now, if you multiply 12 into 7 into 20, how much do you get? 1680. So 12 into 7 into 20 is 1680 is to the other part of the ratio. 20 into 9 into x. 20 into 9 into x will give you 20 into 9 is 180 and then x will remain as it is. Correct, Kirti. So the capacity ratio is 1680 is to 180x. Okay. So that was our first part of the ratio. Now the second ratio that we have to define is the work ratio. Now, when they were using 12 pumps, they were able to bring 2,800 tons of water. Right? That is the work. What is the main work? Taking out the water is the main work. So 2,800 tons of water was taken out by using 12 pumps. Now, by using 20 pumps, they are taking out 3,000 tons of water. So this will become our work ratio. Understood until here? Any doubts? In defining ratio, any doubts? Good. Now, since this is in inverse proportion, let us put them in inverse proportion here. Put ratios or put it in inverse proportion. Okay. Now, what is the amount that you have? See the ratios. The first capacity ratio is 1680 is to 180x is equal to, now it is in an inverse proportion. So do not forget the other ratio will be reversed. So which means instead of 2,800 is to 3,000, we will be having 3,000 is to 2,800. This is inverse proportion. Fine. So now after this, solve it as usual. There is no change after this. Product of extremes into product of means. So product of extremes will be 1680 into 2800 is equal to 3000 into 180x. So 1680 into 2000, how much do you get here? Can you say me the amount? Can you say me the number? 1680 into 2800. 470,400. Okay. 470,400. And here 3000 into 180. 5,40,000 x. Okay. Next step. 470,400,000 divided by 5,40,000. How much do you get? If you divide these two, you're supposed to get the value of x. How much is the value of x? 8.7. Is everyone getting 8.7? X is equal to 8.7 days. Now, we were asked to find the number of days. We found the number of days. But then, instead of keeping 8.7 days or 8.7111, it goes on, right? So, we will round it off and make it as 9 days. Why we are rounding it off? Because after the decimal, the number is more than 5. If it was 8.4, 8.3, then we would have thought 8 days. Now, since it is 8.7, since this number is more than 5, we will round it off to the next number. That will be 9 days. So, write the conclusion. Therefore, what is given in the question? Therefore, 9 days is required to pump 3,000 tons of water using 20 pumps working 9 hours per day. Whatever is given in the question, if you see the second sentence in the question, define the same thing. 9 days, how many, right? In that 9 days is required to pump 3,000 tons of water. Just frame a sentence. 3,000 tons of water using 20 pumps working 9 hours a day. I'm just taking whatever is given in the question. Understood? Is it clear? Yes. Let us start. Now the next problem, 8 men or 16 boys can do the work in 39 days. In how many days will 4 men and 18 boys do the work? So firstly, they have given us 8 men or 16 boys. Read the question carefully. It is 8 men or 16 boys. Now, which means if there is a piece of work, if 8 men do the work, then also they will take 39 days. If 16 boys do the work, then also they will take 39 days. Correct? It is either men or boys. They are not saying 8 men and boys. No. They are saying or. Or means any one we have to consider. So here if you see 8 men can also do the work in 39 days. 16 boys also can do the work in 39 days. Okay. So now which means 8 men is equal to 16 boys. Right? 8 men is equal to 16 boys. Now let us simplify this number. 8 ones are 8 twos are. Right? So the work of 1 man is done by 2 boys. Did you understand? The work of 1 man is done by 2 boys. So that's why very carefully read the question. So the first part of the question says 8 men or 16 boys can do the work in 39 days. Okay. So both of them can do the work in 39 days. Now let us go to the second part of the question. In how many days will 4 men and 18 boys? Now again be careful, it is and. So 4 men plus 18 boys. They are together now. Okay, 4 men and 18 boys. In how many days will they do the work? We have to find out. Now, since we know 1 men is equal to 2 boys, now we can change the number of boys to men, or we can change the number of men to boys. Anything we can do. There's no problem with that. And then we'll form the ratio, put that into proportion, and we will solve it. Okay. Now, we have to define the proportion. Okay, we have to define the proportion. Now here you have 8 men who is doing work in 39 days. Now in the second scenario, there are 4 men plus 18 boys who are doing work in X days. Now if you see this part of the comparison, the number of men and boys are more in the second scenario. Here there are only 8. Here there are only 8. But here there are 4 plus 18. Even if you convert, in the second scenario, it is more. Right? So if the number of men increases, will the number of days increase or decrease? Will this X increase or decrease? More people are working. Will the number of days decrease or increase? I want more answers. Decrease. Correct? Very good. So which proportion is this? Direct or inverse? Correct. It will decrease. That is the right answer. Now, which proportion? Inverse proportion. See, in proportions, all that you have to do is analyze the question. You will find the answer very easily. Okay. So this is a problem of inverse proportion. Now let us define that and solve the problem. So did you understand the question? Any doubts in the question? Good. Now let us define. Given 8 men or 16 boys can do the work in 39 days. Therefore, 8 men is equal to 16 boys. You can highlight this or in a different color if you have. Okay, so that's why 8 men is equal to 16 boys. 8 ones are 8 twos are. Therefore, 1 man is equal to 2 boys. Okay, so one man's work is equal to 2 boys' work. Fine. Now, this is a case of inverse proportion. Okay, this is a case of inverse proportion. Now, after that, let us define the ratios. Work capacity ratio is equal to, in the first scenario, there were only 8 men. It said 8 men or 16 boys. Correct? But in the second scenario, we have 4 men plus 18 boys. 4 men plus 18 boys. Now, if one man's work is equal to two boys' work, so which means it is half of the work. If one boy is working, now here again take the division. If this is two boys' work, now if one boy is working, which means half man's work is done by one boy. Two boys are doing one man's work. So half man's work is done by one boy. So 18 divided by 2. We have 18 boys. So if you divide that by 2, that will give you the men count. Did you understand this part? Is it clear? Okay. Now do the simplification. 8 men is to 4 plus 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. So 8 is to 13 will be our first ratio. Okay, 8 is to 13 is our first ratio. Now the second ratio that we are supposed to find out is the number of days. Now 8 men took 39 days to finish the work, and we don't know how many days will 13 men take. So that is x days. So the second ratio will be 39 is to x. Now that we have got all the ratios, let us put them in the proportion. Now put it in inverse proportion. Again, be careful, it is inverse proportion. Now, which means one of the ratio will be as it is and the other ratio will be reversed. So 8 is to 13 is as it is. 39 is to x. I have reversed it as x is to 39. Now solve it as it is with product of extremes is equal to product of means. So what is product of extremes? Write down the formula. Product of extremes is equal to product of means. So what is product of extremes? 8 into 39 is equal to 13 into x. So 8 into 39 is equal to 13 into x. So 8 into 39, 8 into 39 is 312. Okay. 312 is equal to 13x. So 312 by 13 is equal to x. Therefore, x is equal to 24. Good. So the number of days that 13 men will take to finish the work is 24 days. So write the conclusion. Therefore, 4 men and 18 boys will take 24 days to complete the work. Understood? Clear? Any doubts? Okay. Now moving on to the next question. The monthly income of two persons are in the ratio of 7 is to 8 and their monthly expenditure are in the ratio of 11 is to 13. If each saves 3000 rupees per month, find their monthly income. So they have given us the ratios of monthly income and monthly expenditure, and they've also told that they are saving 3000 rupees per month each of them. So there are two people, you can take them as A and B also. Okay, now these two people are having an income in the ratio of 7 is to 8, and they're having the expenditure in the ratio of 11 is to 13. So firstly, we are here talking about the income ratio. Now that 7 is to 8, whatever you have got, so whatever income they have, that will be in the ratio of 7 is to 8. So that is why let us take their income as 7x and 8x. Okay, 7x and 8x. Why I'm taking 7x and 8x? Because no matter what the number is, that will be in the ratio of 7 and 8. So that is why we are multiplying this x here with the ratios. Now similarly, when it comes to expenditure, no matter what the number is, it will be in the ratio of 11 is to 13. So this y can be anything. This y can be 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 1 crore, anything it can be. Okay, but no matter how much is the expenditure and whatever number it is, it should be in the ratio of 11 is to 13. So that is why this is multiplied. Clear? So that is income and expenditure ratio that is given. Now we know the simple formula of savings. How do you define savings? Income minus expenditure, you can say. You can say it as income minus expenditure. Whatever is your income, if you subtract whatever you have spent, whatever is remaining will be the savings. Okay, now keeping this equation, we are going to define two other equations, that is one for A, one for B, or one for first person, one for second person. So what we are going to do here is first person savings. Now what is the savings? 3000 rupees is the savings for each of them. So 3000 is their savings. 3000 is their savings. And what is the income of the first person? 7x. What is the income of the second person? 8x. Expenditure of first person is 11x. Expenditure of second person is 13x. Sorry, 13y. So income of the first person is 7x. Expenditure of the first person is 11y. Are you all able to follow? Good. So 3000 is the savings, 7x is the income, 11y is the expenditure. So here we got one equation. Let us say that as equation number 1. Now similarly, we have to form the second person saving. Now second person is also saving 3000 rupees. And what is his income? 8x, and his expenditure is 13y. Okay, so this will become our equation number 2. Now in such questions, you will not define if it is a direct proportion or indirect proportion, because the ratios are directly given to us. Okay, now here you cannot think about which will increase and which will decrease. So when you have two equations directly, just solve them simultaneously and get the answer. Now consider equation number 1 and equation 2 and solve them simultaneously. So solving equation 1 and 2 simultaneously. MULT. So the first equation is 7x minus 11y is equal to 3000, and the second equation is 8x minus 13y is equal to 3000. Now, if I want to make this x as same, I am supposed to multiply the equation 1 with 8 and equation 2 with 7. What is confusing, Arpita? Which part of it is confusing? If you say me which part of it is confusing, I can say you what to do. The whole problem is confusing? Equation 1. Okay. Listen. Read the question carefully. Okay. I'll explain that again. Read the question carefully. The monthly incomes of two persons are in the ratio of 7 is to 8. Okay. Now suppose if the income is 1400 is to or let's take something like this instead of that. Easy, very easy one. 700 is to 800. Suppose if the income of first person and second person is 7, or you can take it as 70,000 rupees. 70,000 is the income of first person, 80,000 is the income of second person. If this is the income for them. Now, if you see here, they will come back to the ratio of 7 is to 8. This you have understood, right? Incomes, example, this is an assumption that the income is 70,000 and 80,000. Now, if you take out the zeros here, the income of first person and second person will be in the ratio of 7 is to 8. Correct? Now, if I want to get the income from the ratio, now if I have only ratio and if I want to get the income, so 7 into 10,000, 8 into 10,000, if I multiply, I will get back 70,000 and 80,000. Correct? 7 is to 8 is the ratio. If I multiply 10,000 and 10,000, I'll get back the ratio again. Right? Now, here what we are doing in this problem is, we don't know what is this 10,000. We don't know if you have to multiply 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. We don't know. So we are assuming this to be X. Okay. We are assuming this to be X. So that is why whenever you have a ratio and they are given in the, they have already expressed in ratio. So we will take 7x. 7 into x is the income of first person, and 8 into x is the income of second person. Bindu Shri gave me the answer also. Correct, Bindu. 1,000 and 2,000. Now, Bindu Shri put that into the income. The 7x and 8x, find out the income. Okay. Now, others, did you understand till here? 7x and 8x, how did I get? Yes or no? Okay. Now, similarly, now this was for income. Now, same thing we'll have to do for expenditure also. Now, let us say expenditure in, what is the ratio of expenditure? Expenditure is 11 is to 13. So, let's say this is, they are spending 11,000 and 13,000. So, to get 11,000 and 13,000 back, I have to multiply it with 1,000 and 1,000 here. So since I don't know what is the amount, I am taking it as Y. Don't take it as X again because that is income. This is expenditure. So take it as Y. So you have 11Y and 13Y as the expenditure for two people. Clear? Understood now? Now, how did I get first equation and the second equation? There is this formula, savings is equal to income minus expenditure. Income minus expense or expenditure. In the question they have told, first person is having a savings of 3000 rupees. So what is the income? What is the income for first person? 7x, correct? So I will take income of the first person 7x. Expenditure of the first person was 11y. These are two different things. Income is different, expenditure is different. So this will be 11y. So that is your first equation. Second equation, same 3000 because second person is also saving 3000. Now here income of the second person was 8x, expenditure was 13y. This is how you get two different equations. Now everybody understood? Yes? No? Reply quickly. Arpita, is it clear? Okay, Ravi, good. Okay, now just solve these two equations simultaneously. Find the value of x and y. Okay, good Bindu. Correct answer. You just have to define 14,000 and 16,000. That's all. Okay, solve this and keep it. We'll continue tomorrow. It's getting late for the next class. Okay, thank you.